Hey, welcome to CS Backstage. This is your all-access pass to design, produce, and inspire your next event. I'm your host, Troy Peters, CS Productions' very own Chief Experience Officer, here to help guide you through the world of live event production and live events in general. Remember to subscribe to your podcast at cspro.com/backstage or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Today I'm flying solo. I want to share something that I truly believe in, something which is service, right? Or which I've recently really begun understanding is something that we want to call hospitality. Everyone will tell you that their service is what sets them apart. And I'll be honest that even when I'm making decisions of what airline to fly, Alaska, or what hotel chain to stay at, because we know I travel so much, Marriott, I've made those decisions absolutely based on hospitality, how their service level, what their service level is like. The fact that they make an effort to get to know you and want to understand what you're looking for when you're choosing a travel partner, right? In that world. When you think about the greatest restaurants in the world, which is kind of what I'm going to use to lean on for this, it truly is about hospitality, not service. Keeping my water glass full, checking on me regularly, being prompt about my check at the end of the meal. That's great service. These are all great levels of service. But a restaurant that knows you and makes recommendations and asks you, what do you like? What kind of wine do you like when you're trying to decide what wine to have with dinner, or creates an experience. And that's the difference, right? Service is one thing, but an experience, or what I'm using more and more, hospitality, is really that extra level, that up and above and beyond sort of thing. To guide me today, I'm going to be referencing a great book that I've read and reread called Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. I hope I'm not saying his name wrong, but I've seen him speak a couple times now as well. And this book is brilliant as a business owner, as an industry leader. It really is something that I've embraced this last 6, 8, 10 months since I've heard about him. And I'm going to rely on that a little bit and share a little bit about that. So I'm not getting anything for doing that. I just really want people to read this book and understand that really what we're going for and what our whole world of live events is based on is hospitality, not service. I always say that, we have, as an AV company owner, we have all the toys in the warehouse. We can put projectors and microphones and speakers and LED walls and all those things, just like everybody else, right? Everybody else has that. And then when you ask what it is that sets you apart, everybody says that's our service. Our service sets us apart. But I'm really trying to ingrain in our team that it's about hospitality towards each other in the company, but hospitality towards our clients and our customers, and hospitality towards our industry and the world that's around us, our community. Will's book, his stories about elevating his journey as he was somebody who came up through the restaurant industry and brought 11 Madison Park its third Michelin star, I think was the story, if I'm remembering quite, or subsequent stars. And he's also one of the influencers for The Bear, if you've watched that TV series, which is a brilliant TV series and is really truly about hospitality. And it's all about that customer experience. So let's begin. One of the things that I remember about reading the book Unreasonable Hospitality is service is black and white. And you can really use this in our industry. Service is black and white, right? Or analog. Hospitality is high definition, right? It's three-dimensional. It's exciting. And no matter what you do in any business, he sort of speaks about this right out of the gate. It's your decision to be hospitable and show hospitality. We all service people, right? You go to take your car to the dealership or to wherever you're getting your oil change, you're getting service, right? But if you go to, for example, I drive a Cadillac and I take my car to the Cadillac dealer, they are putting me in a private room where there's food and beverage, and they remember me and they've got notes and they're welcome, Mr. Peters. They know me before I even walk in. I don't have to go to a counter and say, hi, I have an appointment. Could you hook me up and explain who I am and why I'm there? They already know why I'm there and they're ready to bring me on board. one of the things to sort of kick this off is about going above and beyond, right? And there's a great story that Will shares about when he was working at 11 Madison Park in New York, about if I'm remembering this properly, about a couple that came in and was on their last day. They wanted to eat at this restaurant before they flew home. I think they were from Europe, and they had spent a week or some time in New York, and the host or the server had come up and just like, again, engaging with your customer and said, how was your experience? I heard that you were saying that it's your last day in New York. Did you get to see everything? Did you see the Empire State Building? Did you get to go to the Central Park? Did you get to do all these fun things? And they said, yeah, we did everything, but we never got a hot dog. We never got that street hot dog from a street vendor. That was the thing, right? And so that server recognized that, went to the kitchen, and told the chef, this is the story. And they went out, sent somebody out to, I don't know, Papaya King or some amazing hot dog place in New York, brought that hot dog back to the restaurant, and then presented it as though it was obviously a 5-star establishment, that here it is, designed with a special mustard and stuff like that. But that couple got their New York hot dog. And I love that Will always talks about in his book about, people that ate at the restaurant never really remembered the food. They remembered the experience. And that's what we want to do. We don't want people to really remember the nuts and bolts of the operation or the service that you're providing, but we want them to remember that experience. We want them to go, wow, that was something different, something magical, right? And then hopefully that enthusiasm is contagious. Another thing Will brings up and talks a lot is the rule of 95-5. 95% of your money needs to be accounted for, needs to be spent properly, but 5% needs to be spent foolishly, as he calls it. And that's where hospitality sparks, right? That's for us at CS Productions. We have the warehouse, we have our offices, we have board meeting rooms, we have the front help desk, and we have all these things. We also have a speakeasy. So when we have clients that come in, or even our staff that come in, we hold our all hands meetings in our speakeasy. You actually go through a secret bookshelf to get into it, and that's in our building. That's something that we do that is unreasonable. It's not something that's the 5% of foolish money spending, but it really does make a difference, and it helps people to have that experience and have that magical journey that we're all trying to find, that little spark of creativity and excitement that keeps us going forward, especially in this industry. The other part of that is helping to create communication, and Will does a lot of the front of house and back of house, right? How is the restaurant being run versus how are the actual people that are cooking the food or the people that are servicing your customers? How does that all come together? And having better communication is something that I've really been striving for in our own organization. There's the warehouse, and there's sales. Sales sells the show. They build this amazing project that the client loves, and we take it through, and then it gets handed off to logistics or the warehouse team, and they have to fulfill that order. And it doesn't always, that's always a point of a point of where things can get missed, or the message might not be connected, or the front of house isn't talking to back of house, right? So really, again, Will talks about a restaurant run by the chef is going to do what's best for the food. A restaurant run by the staff is going to do what's best for the customer. And staff is everybody, right? We together, even the guys that are loading the trucks in the warehouse, their input is valuable, and they are going to be that collective team that includes, even the clients. The clients get their input. We're in the middle of trying to build a advisory group that'll be some of our clients and maybe some non-clients, but people that are in the industry that can help us make those right decisions and guide us to the direction that we want to go. And really capturing all that information. Perfect example is recently we did our all hands meeting for Q2, and I did an company-wide anonymous survey. I just wanted to ask everybody and give them an honest platform to tell me how they were feeling, how they felt like communication was happening, the direction of the company, if they were getting everything they need, if they felt like they were heard, and if they felt like their path was being recognized and they had opportunity for growth and opportunity to give us their input. And I was probably going into that a little bit skeptical, thinking that maybe not everybody's going to buy into this. I'll probably get a handful of survey responses. And because it was anonymous and we know how things like social media work, it's a great place to sound off on negativity. But I was really impressed that everybody was really 90% happy with what we were doing. They understood the process. They understood our plan. We had obviously room to improve. So, but that was minimal. So being able to really build off those successes and move things forward, and continue doing what we're doing is just super exciting. The other things that Will talks about, or that the book talks about, is being able to praise, and so from that we're now doing great company reviews and personal reviews, and really praising people, being good about praising people in public and criticizing people privately, or not criticizing but advising and recorrecting paths, praising with emotion and criticize without, be straight to the point, but oh my gosh, I love what you're doing, right? That should be emotional, and really kind of giving feedback all the time. Success becomes people plus culture. So being able to really have that idea of having everybody in the place and having that culture is so important to that unreasonable hospitality. One thing that I was really loving that Will talks about in the book is you say hello to everyone. I go when I'm in the warehouse. I travel a lot, and I live outside the state, but I work at the shop about 1 week a month, and every single time I go there, I go and say hello and shake hands with everybody in the building. I just want to say hi, and I think that gives people an opportunity to smile, to be heard, to maybe pull me aside and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or hey, good job on this thing. We just, maybe won a new piece of business, or improved a process. So say hello to everyone. I love that. I've worked now a few times with President Clinton, and every time I get to work with him backstage, he introduces himself to everybody. He says, hello, I'm Bill. And does that to our whole team. And we are all sitting there like, yeah, we know who you are. But I really think that is such a simple approach, and the way that he takes that, and allows us all to feel comfortable. And then it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you might be on, but you're kind of rooting for the guy that just came over and introduced himself to you, right? So it gives people a sense of ownership, and when you can break down that barrier of we're over here and they're over there, right? So bringing them together in that simple way to do that is just saying hello to each other. The other things that I love that he talks about is defining every touch point that customers have, right? Having leadership has the authority, but none of the information sometimes. The boots on the ground, the people doing the job have all the information, but none of the authority. So how do you bring that together and improve all those touch points? I think, one of the things that I, worked mostly in sales in this industry. One of the things that I really enjoyed was actually during the pandemic. A group called National Alliance on Mental Illness had reached out and asked if we would produce their virtual event. And we knew they were looking at a bunch of different companies and talking to different people about who should run this. And there was companies that were way more qualified than us, way more ingrained in virtual events. We were still kind of learning our way, but we were doubling down on what we were good at, which was production and really producing an event. And we showed them all those things, made it to that sort of final conversation, and I spoke from the heart, and I said, look, my mother was a psych nurse. I have aunts in my family that are all work in mental health in the industry, and this is a world that I understand and a world that means a lot to me. So they were able to, I think that was their sort of key decision-making moment, where it was like, here's somebody who wants to succeed with us. Here's somebody that's bringing their company and being honest about, maybe we're not the perfect fit, maybe we're not as seasoned as some of those other companies out there, but we care and we're going to make this the best event ever. When it comes to that hiring process, or that selling process, hire the person and not the resume, right? I love Southwest Airlines. Their philosophy is, if you've got the service, you've got the attitude, we'll find a position for you. Maybe we hired you and you can't quite figure out that role, you need some more training, or maybe you need to be moving into a different role. I think the other thing is is really that the bigger you get, the smaller you need to act. You may have noticed that our podcasts are now once a month, whereas they used to be twice a month. And that's simply because we've had great success with our podcast. We don't want to dilute. We don't want to have too many episodes out there now. We've got, been doing this for 2 years almost. So that's a significant amount of episodes that we've already put out there, and they're still available. You can watch all the old episodes, but really being able to just step back gives us a little bit more of an opportunity to not be doing quantity, but doing quality. So I think that's a real reason that sets us apart again. And then the last couple things I just want to share, and again, with that slow down to speed up, right? Being able to keep things moving forward, but in more quality, in a more quality way. The last thing is really attending to your own needs and making sure that you're taking care of yourself first so that you can help those around you. That's really the sort of key to this when it comes to leadership or anybody, really. I mean, you've got to find a way to have your space, have your time for yourself, and make sure that you are getting what you need so that you can get others what they need. And that is hospitality. And don't be attentive, pay attention, right? Be thoughtful about the process. Be thoughtful about that service level. Be thoughtful about that hospitality. Hospitality isn't a transaction. Hospitality is a relationship. And it's the one of the things that Will shares again in his book is that one size doesn't fit all. One size fits one. And so no matter what you're doing, whether it's your relationship with your kids, I have twins, a boy and a girl, they're the same but different, if that makes sense. I have to approach each conversation to each of them. They're at the same age. I got to talk to them differently. I got to talk to my wife differently than I would talk to, my sister-in-law, and all of these things that should be the same way with your business or what you do in your role and your job. I think that's kind of what I wanted to share today. Again, this book by Will Guidara, Unreasonable Hospitality, is a must read for anybody in our industry. I think, we really want to realize that we're selling homes. We're not selling houses. Selling a house is a transaction. Selling a home is a huge decision and something that we want to help people with, right? And help our partners and our vendors and our clients with. Again, thank you so much. Really, really grateful for the feedback, the numbers of views that we've been getting, the overwhelming love and support that we've gotten for these podcasts over the last 2 years. And I really hope that you've enjoyed the journey. Again, I'm Troy Peters, Chief Experience Officer with CS Productions. This is CS Backstage, your all-access pass to everything you need to know to design, produce, and inspire your next event. Remember to follow us on all our social media channels, and a reminder again that these podcasts are now going to be released. I think it's the first Thursday of every month, so hopefully first or second Thursday, but hopefully you'll keep following. And if you haven't seen all of them, there's lots in the library now. Thanks so much, everybody.